Sorry, I kind of cut you off like mid-sentence. I was like, you're saying something, and I was like, and I hit the button to start.
Oh, no, it's all right. I can roll with the punches, man.
Right on. What's up, everybody? Tonight with me is Wes Moody. How you doing, Wes?
I'm doing great. Always good to be here with another amazing content creator and, of course, the best chat on YouTube.
Absolutely, man. We have a lot of great people in the chat tonight. Let's see. We have Eric. How you doing, Eric? We have Crazy Cat Guy. We have David Blair. I always fuck this one. And Sheffic 1, I think I actually got it right. We also have Cold-Blooded Critic, the infamous Eskimo Phono. How's it going, Eskimo? I haven't seen you in a while, man. We also have Parrot Head, who sends me interesting things over Twitter.
Yeah, likewise.
We also have Roof Korean. I know that somebody was asking, is anyone playing Cyberpunk 2077? I have. It's fun. I like it. Yeah, it has some problems, but great story. I'm a big fan of Cyberpunk. I've been playing the tabletop version of the game since like the late 80s. And it's really fucking cool to actually see Mike Pondsmith's world on screen rather than just like in your imagination. So how about you?
I've been playing it as well. Yeah. I don't have any history to, what it was before, but it is nice to know what kind of dystopian world we'll be living in a few years.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the funny thing about this year. Even Mike Pondsmith said, this game is not a roadmap. We're not supposed to be trying to make this future happen. But yeah, sure seems like it.
Oh yeah.
So here we are, folks, 2020. We don't necessarily have a whole lot of topics, mainly because, I wasn't sure who was showing up tonight. I know that Culture Casino has a really, really bad migraine, so he can join us tonight. I know that So Talks a Lot wanted to join us as well, but he can't make it. Raquel is unable to make it as well. And unfortunately, Wes Moody has been free, and Wes is somebody I've been wanting to get on for a while. And Culture Casino made it happen, so here we are.
All right. Yeah, it's good to be here. And, wish Culture Casino all the best. I've had those migraines, so I understand exactly what he's going through. Man, I get them real bad. Ooh, I get like the visual effects and all that stuff.
Right on. So one thing that was happening last stream, which was Monday, there's a lot of crackling. So if there's crackling, people let me know. I found the issue was not my microphone and mixer. It turns out it was StreamYards and my browser. So what I ended up doing was rebooting my computer all like Tuesday night for like 2 hours. I was trying to debug the issue. And it's like I would test locally using OBS. OBS sounded fine. And when I would stream, I would play it back and it would be crackling. I was like, what the hell's going on? What is peaking? And I guess the issue must have been with Chrome and StreamYard and probably the audio setup. So after I rebooted, everything seems to have been fine. There's a bit of crackle. God damn it. I'm going to have to look for a different solution at this point because I don't know what the problem is, but it's not my gear. It's definitely StreamYard. And the funny thing, too, is I went back and I checked some of my previous streams and I heard crackling as well. So this has apparently been going on for a while. So I'm going to have to find some other way of streaming, which is annoying. So hopefully Wes is coming in loud and clear.
Yeah, I hope so. Speaking of mic issues or sound issues, my old Yeti died on me. It had, and so it took me like 3 weeks to warranty a new one. And I thought I was going to have to send back the old one. But they just sent me this new one, and I had the black one before, but I wanted the silver one. And then for some reason, they sent me the silver one. So it's a win. So
Roof Korean is saying, still hearing cut in and out, stuttering now. Okay. Hey, if you don't mind holding the show, let me close my browser out and I'll reopen everything, and hopefully that'll be okay. If not, it means the issue might be with XSplit, and I might have to turn the camera off. So if you don't mind holding the fort down for a moment, I'll just go and bounce real quick, restart my stuff, and jump right back on. All right, folks, see you in a sec.
How we doing, chat? So good to see all you people. I see a lot of friends here from my other live streams. Let's see. You get to some of the comments here. Hail Roof Korean. Hail Ed Brewer. Hail POC preserver of culture. Glad to hear I'm coming through okay. Hail Conrad Jaskell. Did I say that right? Hail M. Shafiq 1. Is that good? Is that how I pronounce that? Yeah, so I had some mic issues too that I was looking at that I had problems with, and I had to get a new mic. Sound issues, when you find a bug when you're doing something in your live streaming, it'd be really frustrating to get that stuff resolved. And
okay, hopefully this is better. How do I sound to you?
You sound good. Yeah, I don't hear any crackling this time.
All right. Seems like the secret is in the future. I just need to go and close out every single application that is using, I guess, my microphone. Something I had Premiere open and I closed all that out, and looks like it solved the problem. I don't know. I'm gonna have to do this every time I stream, I suppose. Which is kind of irritating, but it is what it is.
I can't tell you how many times I've done like a gaming stream and I'll be talking for 15 minutes and eventually somebody will say, "Are you there?" And I had the mic turned off.
Dude, I've done I did that my first stream using OBS, and I stopped using it, and I ended up doing it again like a dumbass. So yeah,
OBS is tricky because every time you update it, it wipes all those settings out. So you have to go back and manually add everything back in. Then like another time, I was just going at it in the game. We're like 30, 45 minutes in. Hey, I don't see the gameplay. Like you missed all that good stuff. I was cutting heads off and doing all kinds of great stuff.
Technology, man, it's a pain in the ass. Let me tell you. But I'm glad that I'm coming in clear now. That means that things are freaking working, and I just had to have the ritual of shutting shit down before starting. So good. All right. So Eric is saying, today's topic should be Lethal Weapon and Christmas movies. Yeah. Christmas movies.
Did you get a chance to see Batman?
I have not. That would require me to not do certain things, like YouTube, or try and figure out what the fuck is wrong with my setup. But yeah. So I saw that Unsafe Space had a stream with Gary today, and apparently they're having a lot of technical issues too. So it makes me feel better about my situation at times. Anyway, you recently did a interview with somebody who was a fact checker, and I thought that was kind of interesting. It's something I've been meaning to check out. I just haven't had an opportunity to. But it's cool that you're here because you have the opportunity to talk about it and share it with others who may have not seen it.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I had the Facebook fact checker on. He's a guy named Alan Duke. He owns a company that does the fact checking. It's called leadstories.com. It's interesting, because Tim Pool was actually talking about this on his stream tonight, the fact checker. So he is. It's basically him and this other dude, and I think they have like half a dozen employees. So what prompted this was I made a post about the Georgia ballots in the chain of custody and the questions that I had about that on Facebook, and it got flagged for fact check. If you want to see this dangerous content or whatever, click here. And then I had the fact checked. And so if you click on their fact check, it takes you to his website, leadstories.com. And then it has the actual article and any corrections that are made. So I saw that he'd made corrections in the past, and it has an email address, and it says, please don't send me death threats. If you want to send me something, use this template and send me an email this way. So I did, and it has a link to the Facebook post, a link to his fact check. And what I believe, what I thought was pretty obvious, shenanigans afoot with those ballots in Georgia, the after hours, the fictitious pipe break, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. My opinion, folks. Don't punish comics for my opinion here.
Well, that's the thing that's so funny about it is that we were talking about censorship earlier, and the funny thing about it is that there's certain things we can't say about the election, which is funny. You could say there was fraud, kind of. You can say that. You just can't say that thing I can't say.
Right. That maybe, something might have, maybe there would be a different, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you could basically say there was fraud. You just can't say that there was fraud that led to certain events that happened with the election.
Yeah.
That will get me banned.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I try to put the disclaimer opinion in front of it. So don't hold it against comics, please. YouTube, don't do that. So yeah, I did that. I sent him an email, and to my surprise, he responded to it. And he said, there's no chain of custody issues, so I'm going to keep my fact check up. And I thought about it, and I was getting upset, and I probably was going to be one of those people that wrote a nasty email. But then I thought about it for a second. I was like, I've got a YouTube channel. It's like, hey, you want to come on my YouTube channel and talk about what you do? And to my complete shock and surprise, he said yes. He said, send me a link to your YouTube channel. And it says right, at the top of my screen, current events, pop culture, car talk, gaming streams, conspiracy theories, all that's there. And then it has my playlist, which has my conspiracy or conspiracy show. And so, and my last video was like my Doom slaying. I'm at the end of Doom 2016. He's like, no offense, but I don't know a lot about demon slaying. And so I was like, here, and so I sent him a link to whatever Wednesday, the one about the, my opinion about, the election and things that had taken place. And he said, yeah, I'll come on. And he came on. He gave me 90 minutes of his time. It was great. We talked about everything from, he really wanted to talk about his journalism past, and he did a story on Epstein in 2014, which I thought was very interesting. And he talked about his time at CNN and how CNN had changed between Ted Turner to after, I'm getting stream brain. I had this already. Who bought them? Somebody bought them. Was it Time Warner? Time Warner.
Is it Time Warner that bought them?
Yeah. After Time Warner took over, and that he didn't like kind of what he termed opinion journalism. Don Lemon, and he said that journalism has become very emotional, which I thought was an interesting take that I agreed with.
Yes,
and he didn't like that. And then he talked about how CNN was like getting rid of people that are 55 and over, which I mean, I'd heard these things, but hearing it from somebody that was affected by that, kind of.
Well, the funny thing about that too is if there's a pattern, they can sue for that.
Well, that's age discrimination. Anything after 40 is considered age discrimination.
Yep.
The problem with him is that he bailed out before they could do that, so I think he was kind of regretting that a bit. And so we went from there to the Inquirer, but the meat and potatoes of it is that we really got deep into some stuff, and because we do have the best chat on YouTube, of course. We got into some of the conspiracy stuff because I wanted his take. He did stories on Epstein. I wanted his take on some of that stuff. So we went into everything from, George H.W. Can I go into that stuff?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. From
yeah, it's you could definitely get political on my channel. I typically try and reserve Thursday nights for like culture and entertainment, but I don't have anything to talk about, so you're free to have at it, man.
Oh, all right. I'll let her rip then. So, chat wanted to know, George H.W. Bush and the JFK assassination. What are your thoughts on that? And seemed to be pretty candid on his opinion. He's like, well, he was there, wasn't he? And we went into, Epstein. Did Epstein kill himself? And you go through the interview, and at first he says yes, and then towards the end he says, well, no, Aaron Hernandez killed himself in prison. So, so I thought that was interesting watching him start off saying yes and then going to the end and saying no.
What are your thoughts about Epstein?
Oh, he didn't kill himself. You
don't think he did?
No.
Yeah.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I agree. I think he knew too much.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, though all of the set of circumstances that happened at the same time just seem a little far-fetched to me.
Yeah.
A guard falling asleep, cameras going off, and then they did the autopsy and
there's coincidence, and there's no, it's not coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. Yeah, Epstein did not self terminate. So
No.
yeah, let me grab the super chat real quick. Dana Reaper, $5. Die Hard is the best Christmas movie, and I just bought a Hawker 4000, and he is not a fact checker. He's an agenda protector. Just saying. I don't know. What do you think of that? Is he a fact checker or is he an agenda protector?
I think that we were talking a little backstage, and I'll kind of give the same analogy here. So let's say that you want to be an actor, right? And maybe you've had some roles, but then you get offered a job to be like a grip, and you're saying, well, I'm still in the industry that I want to work in. It's not an actor, but I'm still in that industry. And so I think, it's working in the industry that you want to work in, but maybe not doing what you want to do in that industry. Mm-hmm. So I think the analogy is he's now the grip and not the actor.
Right. Okay. So backstage POC is basically before we go live, we're just kind of talking. And so that's what it's like. You could call it the virtual green room or the virtual backstage. So yeah, that's basically what we're referring to.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So it's
everybody calls it something different.
Yeah, everybody calls it something different. I always call it backstage too. It's nothing new. Yeah. But I mean, it's interesting. I mean, you talk about conspiracy stuff too. I didn't know. I'm kind of curious what kind of conspiracy stuff you talk about.
Oh man. So I'm definitely very much into George H.W. Bush's past and his involvement in like the JFK assassination. There's this book by Russ Baker, Family of Secrets, that goes all into not just them, but W and Prescott Bush and how they made their fortune and how they're basically servants of, the higher powers, the powers that be. And they do their bidding. We're talking about kind of, your Rockefellers and Rothschilds and other folks of that ilk. They're kind of middle management for the New World Order, if you will.
Right. Yeah. Well, so it's pretty funny because I'm trying to remember. There's like a series of books that came out. I actually still have it. It's like Bush, Clinton, and the Mena, Arkansas drug running conspiracy.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the funny thing is like growing up back in the 90s, it's like I remember listening to people talk about conspiracies and, New World Order. I was like, yeah, right, whatever. It's like, but are you familiar with the Great Reset at all?
I just haven't had a chance to dive into it as much as I wanted to, but from what I'm told, the gist of it is that private property goes bye-bye and
yeah, it's definitely one of those things. Like I said, growing up, I never really bought into conspiracies, or at least like the Illuminati, right? Okay, so apparently my mic is still popping even after ducking out. You know what? Okay, let me try something, folks. Let me see if it's being caused by XSplit. So let me duck out again. I'll turn that off, and I won't do camera tonight. So the issue is with StreamYard. It's actually not with my gear. So this is really irritating shit at me. So let me know if it pops afterwards, and if not, I'm gonna have to look for an alternative when it comes to streaming. So I'll be right back, guys.
All right. So yeah. As far as conspiracies, I wasn't. I think what really opened my eyes to a lot of stuff is just, the basic reading of the Constitution and seeing how much unconstitutional stuff happens. And I think, in the late 90s, there was this show that came on public access television. It was called Rules of Engagement, and it was about Waco, Texas. And Waco, Texas, the narrative that the government told was that, it was basically like a ritual suicide.
Oh, wow. I came in at a great time.
Yeah, yeah. This documentary, Rules of Engagement, that I saw in the late '90s about Waco. You know, at that time, I thought they were all nuts and that it was ritual suicide. But what it ended up, but then you see the actual footage of them, the tanks rolling up, and them injecting all this gas into this facility, and the flames coming from the gas they injected into it. So basically, the government ended up burning those people alive and sold the public a lie. And I just remember being completely shocked and after seeing that.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm using XSplit without the audio, and obviously I can't crop it. So we're going to have this lovely black bar, but hopefully there's no crackling now, folks. So if there is, let me know. And I don't know. Like I said, I'm gonna have to find an alternative to StreamYard at this point. So yeah. Okay. Waco. Thing that's kind of interesting. What are your thoughts on that? I know that you were kind of right in the middle talking about it.
Well, the government definitely murdered those people. You know, I mean, there's a lot that's been learned later. One of the negotiators was, they were on the verge of surrendering when, you know, somebody wanted to make an example of them, and somebody there wanted to make an example of them. And it's just, you know, I mean, he wasn't a great, you know, he was like a lot of these religious kind of cult leaders, and he was going around banging all the chicks that that were in the compound. But I think, you know, hey, it's your right. We have a First Amendment. You can go worship, you know, as long as there's no violence involved. As far as I'm concerned, you can worship whomever, or whatever you like.
Right. Yeah, I kind of I don't know if somebody was actually trying to make an example, or if it was just an excessive use of force. Who was Janet Reno? She was in charge of that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And yeah, I'm not gonna say it was deliberate, because I don't think it was, but I think that there was a bit of an excessive use of force, and I think it basically is one of those things that blew up in their face. Now, have you looked into Ruby Ridge at all?
A little bit. I believe you had some of the same cast of characters from Ruby Ridge at Waco, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And
for those of you who are not like familiar, so I don't remember the dude's name, but he was considered to be a white separatist, and I think he was in Montana.
Randy Weaver.
Thank you. Yeah. So what happened is they showed up. I don't remember the whole thing behind it that led them to go and investigate the guy, but they ended up killing his wife and his infant son. And here's the thing. It's like, not a big fan of racists, but if they want to be by themselves, leave them be. You know, I don't think the guy was hurting anyone. So yeah, they went in there, and there was this huge fucking shootout. And yeah, like you had a lot of the same players that were involved with Ruby Ridge, as well as what happened with the Branch Davidians. And I think it's another example of like excessive force that didn't need to be used by the government. So
yeah, well, I mean, and here's the thing, it kind of the same playbook was before all of that happened. They were trying to sell weapons to Randy Weaver, and they were also trying to get David Koresh on weapons.
There's an
charges, and they basically, yeah, it was basically they were using you know, informants and undercover people, and they kept apparently they kept saying no. Randy Weaver and David Koresh kept saying no, and they just at that point had offered such a ridiculous price that they ended up.
He said yes, yeah,
taking it.
Yeah. So anyway, back to the whole thing.
Entrapment.
Entrapment. So back to the whole thing with the Great Reset. Yeah. Like I said, growing up, it's like I've read a lot of books about, you know, the New World Order, the Illuminati, shit like that. I never bought into it the 90s, because back then, which is funny, living in Texas back in the early 2000s, there were some guy he bought these billboards, or you know, rented them out up of I-35 heading from Austin to Dallas, and it says, "Is the UN invading Texas?" And it had like pictures of UN vehicles, and it's like, come on, dude. It's like we all know we have military bases. They have UN equipment here. The UN's not freaking invading Texas. So it was like crap like that. But with the Great Reset, if you actually go to the World Economic Forum's website, they have a site dedicated to the Great Reset and a bunch of articles that talks about it. And it is definitely being pushed. And Klaus Schwab, he's the guy who co-founded the World Economic Forum, and he wrote a book this year called COVID-19 and the Great Reset. And give me a second here, folks. I will grab the book and show it to you. Turn my camera off. This is where you sit for me, Moody. So here it is. COVID-19, the Great Reset. By Klaus Schwab. It's written by him and another individual who's been involved with the World Economic Forum. And essentially what they're trying to do is he's been pushing this thing called the Fourth Industrial Revolution for quite some time. And yeah, it's all about this whole Great Reset thing. It's something he's been trying to do for a while. And they've been trying to use the environment as an excuse with global warming as a reason to push the Great Reset. But now with COVID-19 and lockdowns, they have a reason to push this. And you kind of touched on a little bit with the whole thing with like, you won't own anything. They actually have an article called I don't own anything. I have no privacy and I've never been happier. And all this plays into the 2030 agenda. And I created a second channel. Unfortunately, I've been wanting to create more content around it, but just the issues with the microphone and the mixer, I was trying to get that figured out this week before I tried to do anything else, because obviously, if I sound like shit streaming, people are just going to unsub. And it's funny because Monday I ended up losing 6 people due to my live stream. I can't tell you if it was the content or if it was the fact that it was the bad audio. So
I've been up and down. I don't know what's going on.
What's that?
I said I've been up and down on subs. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, but this is like 6 people like deliberately, unsubbing because of the live stream. You know how someone will watch a video and they go unsub, and you'll get people subbing and unsubbing. So I actually lost 6 people because of my last live stream, probably because of the audio, I would assume. Anyway, like I said, he is using COVID-19. It's right there in the freaking title, folks, as an excuse to push the Great Reset. And this is something he's been working on for quite some time. I think initially they were going to try and do it with the swine flu back in 2008. That didn't pan out. All these articles came out in 2016, which I thought was kind of funny. And the thing that happened was, I think the individual they're expecting to get elected did not get elected. So they haven't been able to push the Great Reset. But now that they have Biden, Biden's slogan for his campaign is Build Back Better, which has also been used by the World Economic Forum for the Great Reset, Build Back Better. A lot of people have been using it. So it's a lot of coincidence, I would say.
Yeah, I've noticed. Yeah, they're using it. Biden's using it. And then I saw it show up on...
the Prime Minister of the UK, he used it too. Boris Johnson.
Right now, I know I know his name. It'll come to me in a second. Boris Johnson. There we go.
Boris Johnson. So yeah, it's like it's a little too coincidental in my opinion for that to be
definitely
to be a thing. So I don't know, man. Maybe there is a New World Order conspiracy after all. I mean, hell, I don't think it's a conspiracy that the UN wants to control the world or wants the world to be beholden to them. It's not a secret that people who have a lot of money, have a lot of influence, and have the ability to control things. Also, yes, Trudeau has said stuff as well. He's even directly referenced the Great Reset, and he's been involved in several UN things involving the Great Reset, which has been kind of interesting. I got some super chats. Let me get to real quick. I have a super sticker from Crazy Cat Guy. It is looks like a fox saying hiya, and another one for $3, 3 American greenbacks. Another super sticker says, how's it going? It's going pretty good, Crazy Cat Guy. How about yourself? We also have this one from Sandman says, run runner, for 2 Canadian pesos. This is why they target small businesses. Absolutely. Yep. And that's the big thing too, is like with all these small businesses that are tanking as a result of these lockdowns. You know, as Tim Pool has put it, this is the largest transfer of wealth that we've seen in history, because, you know, nobody can go to small businesses. So we all order from Amazon, Target, and Walmart, which is pretty unfortunate.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the small businesses, especially here in California, man, they've got their back to a wall. You know, you're a barber shop, or if you're a restaurant, you're just kind of screwed. You can't do anything really, and their licenses are on the line. You know, their liquor licenses. I guess the alcohol beverage controls come around to all the restaurants that were defying the order and are threatening to yank licenses here. You know, meanwhile, Gavin Newsom is, of course, able to dine indoor when that was prohibited, with not socially distancing and with many lobbyists.
Not wearing a mask either. Yeah. It's so this whole thing, man. It's crazy. It's really insane. Ryan Long did a really good video, kind of making fun of the of the governors. That was pretty funny. I don't know if you got a chance to see it or not, but Ryan Long is he's funny as hell.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, he's the guy that did Woke versus Racist, which was really good. He's a comedian. He's from Canada. I guess he moved to New York, and he does a lot of sketches on YouTube, and they're really fucking good.
Nice. I'll have to check it out. You know, they like to suppress people like that.
Yeah, they do, unfortunately. All right, so let me get this chat real quick from Toxic Man Flew for 2 American greenbacks. It was me. I made them unsub due to my toxicity. Come on, dude, you're charming. Don't cut yourself short. And I still need to get you on. I know Nano Reaper, you said you want to be on. Hit me up, Nano Reaper. If you're not working and you're available, we can definitely get you on at some point. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to have him on. He's got some great opinions. A lot of passion there.
Yeah. Tox is great. Nano Reaper's great. A lot of people out in the chat are great. We also have Tia Martin, who's pretty damn awesome as well. So anyway, what got you interested in conspiracy theories?
Well, I think what really got me into it was 9/11, because the narrative kept changing on 9/11. And then, you know, what really got me to start thinking about it, I actually happened across Alex Jones, and I started watching some of his stuff, and you know, there was what was that? Loose Change got me into 9/11.
Loose Change. I don't think I've what's that?
It's a movie about how things didn't add up with the steel melting, the building collapses, and all that stuff. And
interesting. My wife and we were on a flight back home, and we were sitting next to an architect, and we were talking about 9/11. He was bringing up some things I thought was kind of interesting. Yeah, he's a big believer that something wonky happened. Sorry, man, I cut you off.
No, that's all right. I was just listening. You talked to an architect, and I wanted to get their take. Well, yeah, I mean, that's another thing. I worked with you know, a lady in my office, and her husband was a pilot, and so and we had one of those company functions where, you know, everybody brings their spouses and stuff. And so I asked him. I said, can you do like a 240-degree corkscrew descending turn if you were trained on like a Cessna. And he's like, "You talking about 9/11?" I said, "Yeah." He says, he was an airline pilot. He says, "We don't talk about 9/11."
First off, what's up, Tom?
Why do I got to come in
Tom?
during 9/11 talk?
I don't know.
Hey, because I'm on the show.
You're just unlucky, dude.
Let's talk about pussy.
So
I almost tripped down the stairs over a cat.
I know, that's my life. He won't move either. It's like, move, kitty. He like looks at you like, why? It's like, Ugh. How you doing, Wes? It's been a while. How you doing, the comics?
I'm doing good, man. How about you?
I'm good.
I am on vacation for the
I'm awake.
freaking year.
Lucky you.
I know. Which means I'll be doing absolutely nothing.
Those are the best vacations. Although there's not a whole lot you can do now. Well, maybe you can, because you're in Texas, but not me.
I'm going to the gun range tomorrow.
There you go.
That's what I'm doing. And then gonna hang out with the wife, play some video games, and then do some Friday night tights. So that's what I'm looking forward to. But yeah, it's decent here. You know, most things are open. Go shopping, go to a restaurant. Yeah, it's not like the People's Republic of California.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tom, you worked at some really interesting moment because we're talking about conspiracies.
Oh, I was listening to you guys for a little bit here.
Oh, okay. All right.
I was making a sandwich.
You know, making a sandwich.
Yeah, peanut butter J.
Oh, right on, man.
That's all I got, man.
Healthy option.
So anyway, yeah. Well, the funny thing too is that both my parents work in the airline industry. My dad was a pilot. My mother was a flight attendant. Both retired. So unfortunately, yeah, my father wasn't around for 9/11, so I don't have any input from him. But one thing I always thought was really interesting is that he would always talk about how if they always flew by the book, that there'd be more plane crashes, which I thought was kind of interesting. I haven't talked to my mom about 9/11 in a while. I don't remember what her thoughts are. I think she doesn't buy into the plane crash thing just being the sole reason why the buildings collapsed. I don't know. It's like I remember InfoWars being pretty big after 9/11. I never really got into InfoWars. I watched Tim Pool's interview with Alex Jones, the second one. I haven't got a chance to watch the first one yet. That dude's out there. I mean,
yeah, he's a little out there.
He's a little out there. Oh my God.
I'm not sure if I believe in. Oh, he's way entertaining, but yeah, I don't know about Clockwork Elves. Sorry, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I know, dude.
I'm
it's
not
like
buying that one.
The whole interdimensional stuff and Clockwork Elves, and it's like, yeah.
Well, you guys have believed all the other stuff. Why wouldn't you? I mean,
which
he's looking at it.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, well, there's certain things like it's like they were fact checking him that he was right on. And
I know, but I'm just saying.
Then you start getting into the crazy shit. Wrong thing. There we go.
The guy claiming the world's going to end makes sense until he gets to that part that you don't like to hear.
Yeah, it's like, well, especially if you fact check certain things that the guy says. He's like, okay, it's like the whole thing with like recruits running around in red high heels. That was actually a thing, apparently. So, TM Martin for 10 American Greenbacks. Hail Comics Division and Wes. Thanks for the shout out. So got any top 3 pointers for surviving this great reset? I do actually. I released a video on my second channel talking about that. There are things I think you should do to prepare yourself for 2021. And it's making sure you have 90 days worth of food and water, making sure that you have 90 days supply of medication. If you have pets, 90-day supply of pet food, batteries, flashlights, buy a gun, buy ammo if you can.
What about a Nerf gun?
Not the same.
According to Santa, it is.
But yeah, I mean, seriously, it's the biggest thing that everybody should have is at least 90 days worth of food and water on hand. That's
about 90 days worth of weed? That's important to have.
That's medicinal, right? I mean,
well, he did say medicine.
I did say medicine. Yeah,
you did.
Yeah. So that definitely counts.
Yeah. Yeah, I would just add to do things good for your mental health. Get out and go for a walk every once in a while. Stay fit, or at least get outside and do things. That'll take your mind off of things every once in a while.
Yeah. The big thing too, and I did top 15. I don't remember all of them off the top of my head, but the last two, which I think are, I wouldn't say they're the most important because obviously survival is the most important thing. But these are things that you can start doing without spending money. First is educate yourself, learn about what the Biden administration plans to do. And the second one is become an activist and an advocate for your rights. And I think that when the government is doing things that we should not, that they should not be doing and we do not approve of, I think the big thing you should do is protest, write your congressman, write your public officials, and let them know that that what they're doing is not kosher. And that this is the problem that we run into these days, the fact that the loudest voices is coming from the crazies on the left. It's coming from the Antifa types and the BLM types. And they're the ones that want to go and change things drastically. And the problem is because they are in the minority, but they have the loudest voice right now. So they think people, corporations, politicians think that they are the ones that are the majority because they're the ones that are screaming on Twitter and protesting and burning things down. And I don't condone burning shit down, but if you do not approve of the lockdown, organize and protest the lockdown. Obviously, writing to Gavin Newsom isn't going to help, but fucking protesting will, especially if you get thousands of people. And the reason why they get attention, BLM and Antifa get attention, is because they're out there protesting.
Honestly, I mean, I know we can't really do this, but like if they were like, no, we're locking it down again. If we just all did one big collective no.
Yeah.
Like we just went online, went everywhere and just said hashtag no. No means no.
No means no. Yeah, I think I think that's important.
There are some brave.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, there are some brave restaurateurs and barbershops that are staying open around here, openly defying the order. And if there's a restaurant that serves alcohol, they're sending alcohol beverage control out to yank the licenses from the state. It's really pretty ridiculous. But people are doing it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Master Sidearms mentions another thing I had on the list, which is a first aid kit. Not just a first aid kit, but like an actual trauma kit. Something that Band-Aids are great, but you need more than Band-Aids sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, see, one of the things. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so TM Martin for $5. P.S. What's yours and Tom's take on all these UFO sightings lately? Acknowledged by the government. I'll be honest with you, I haven't kept up on it.
Big collective duh, but I think it's kind of convenient. They picked a time when the world is like worried more about everything else right now between the pandemic and the election. What do you think, comics?
I think it's I heard about the whole thing with Israel where they're talking about the whole thing with the Galactic Alliance or something like that. I haven't really looked into it. Galactic Federation, thank you, that's it. I haven't had an opportunity to look into it. Do I believe that there's extraterrestrial life? I do. Is it provable?
It's almost naive to not think that there's at least something out there. I mean, the odds that we're the only thing in the universe is pretty fucking
there's actually an equation to figure out habitable worlds, and then on top of that, how many of those worlds actually could develop life. The thing that to say that there isn't other intelligent life out there, I think is naive and unrealistic.
Well, didn't they just find some kind of proof, or not proof, but at least evidence that there may be life on Venus? I think it is.
I think they've always kind of speculated about Venus. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some sort of life there.
Yeah, they tested, like they got what do you call it, like a little probe up there or whatever, and they tested. It's got like some gas in the air that generally means there's some kind of living life, I guess. I think it was Venus, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But no, it's pretty naive to think we're the only thing in the universe that has any kind of intelligence or living life on it. It's pretty narcissistic.
Yeah. But there is something called the Fermi paradox where it has a series of filters. And the thing that's scary about it is that these filters are life evolves to a point and can end up destroying itself, or some sort of catastrophe happens that kills it off. The question is, where are we? Have we gone past the filter, or are we approaching it?
We may have already destroyed ourselves several times over, and this is like the third or fourth cycle of it. But I don't know, to answer the question there. I think that the reason I don't think they would release it if we didn't know what it was. So I think these are the fruits of kind of the project that Bob Lazar was working on. And I believe Bob Lazar's story, because who would make something like that up? I mean, really. But
yeah,
okay.
Go ahead.
I think I think these are ours, because I don't think that they would disclose to the public if this was something that wasn't ours. That's my opinion.
That's I was gonna say too, is just because something is unidentified doesn't mean it's extraterrestrial. It could be terrestrial. So I don't know, but that's kind of what it goes down to. There's a lot of crazy things in the world, man. Okay, Sandman says runner for $5 Canadian. What has scared me the most with this pandemic is how easily and quickly people have given up their rights and freedoms. Also, snitches suck. I agree. Okay, and I don't think it was planned. I think it was definitely taken advantage of. But then again, it could be planned. I don't know. It's the whole thing is kind of weird, right?
Well, here's where I come down on the side of it being planned is Event 201. Because that happened before it had spread, and how long would it have taken them to come up with all of the tables and the data and to book the actors and to make the film and to have the panel, and that was in October of 2019. So probably looking at least a year lead time. I mean, if not a year, 6 months, just to get that event together. So,
well, there was something that's interesting that my mom mentioned, because she's really big into conspiracies, and saying that the virus was developed here and it was moved to Wuhan, and then Tim Pool mentioned something very similar. So I don't know, man. I'm not gonna say it's not. I tend to err on the side of caution. I definitely think it's been taken advantage of for sure, but never know. Let's see. Your list is missing a 90-day supply of lube.
I was going to say, you're missing some important stuff on that list, but I wasn't going to get into it.
Hey, you know what? It was only 15. It was top 15. Okay. That doesn't mean that's the only thing. And Twirly Wolf, Agenda 21 has become Agenda 2030, because obviously they didn't make it in time for 21, which is actually true. It's the exact same thing, but they just changed the date to 2030, which is interesting.
Yep.
Well,
hey, how do you know where you're going if you don't have a roadmap, a destination?
Yeah. So I don't know, folks. This is like I said, we live in interesting times, for sure, with what's going on. But the thing that you mentioned about the whole thing with compliance, right? When we weren't sure what was going on with COVID, it did have the potential, not knowing much about it at the time, it could have been like the next Black Death. And if it's like legit killing 10% of the population, that's pretty nasty, but it's not doing that. And the thing that's so frightening about it's like, I hate wearing the mask. I really do. When I'm in the parking lot walking around, I don't wear it. As soon as I walk out of the store, I pull it down. It's, but yeah, you're right. It's like, to me, a lot of this feels like an exercise in social engineering. How quickly are you able to get people to obey these rules? And the other thing too, I'm not going to say that it doesn't kill people, because it certainly does. So does the flu. And there are definitely people out there who have died from it, for sure. I know Uche had a friend that passed away because of COVID, and that's unfortunate.
Well, I know somebody's mom's is in the hospital right now because of it, and yeah, I mean it's real, but
yeah, it's certainly real. It's like I talked about earlier in the year how my contractor who was doing my floors got it. He went to the hospital. He got it from his mother and his dad, who were elderly in a nursing home. all of them survived. His wife also got it. She didn't display any symptoms. So it's all weird.
My stepmother passed away from it earlier this little couple 2-3 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
But she had pre-existing conditions, a lot of them. She had type 1 diabetes. That's the one that you're not obese, but you have diabetes. It's that one.
Yeah.
And some other pre-existing conditions that she went in with walking pneumonia and she was like dead 3 days later. And I think it was here earlier than they said it was, because I had some mystery illness actually a year ago.
Oh, we talked about this, I think, in chat like a while back. I have some friends that they think they had it last year, back in December.
Yeah, because I had something, and the combination of symptoms was very weird, and it was just like I knew it was like, this is something different.
Yeah,
'cause I had like crushing headaches, man, the worst headaches I've ever had in my life, and like fatigue and this weird itchiness that wouldn't go away, and I had chest pressure, but I didn't have any of the coughing that people talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I had a very bad sore throat, and I would get better, and it would go to, and then I'd get smacked down. I'd get better, and then I'd get smacked down. And kept getting these horrible headaches.
That's the exact same symptoms that they had.
You know, it's funny. Those are the symptoms I've had over the last 2 weeks, but they've been more minor. Like, I wouldn't say they were like killing me headaches, but I've been like, the joke is I never sleep. Like, guys, I have slept more in the last few days than I ever have in my life. Like, that's all I've been doing besides when I've been streaming. So I don't know. I'm starting to wonder if I ain't got it myself.
Well, the other thing too, that is interesting about it, and I think the reason why the numbers are inflated, and I did some research, and I know here in Texas that the number of COVID deaths are a little less than double of what the flu does. And the thing I found really interesting, I know that Lady Gravemaster talked about this. I talked to my cousin, because he got tested, and they wanted to mark him down as positive. But he's like, "Oh, you get it for free if we mark it positive." He's like, "No, my insurance is going to cover it. You don't need to do that." Well, we'll just mark it down as positive. And the reason why they're doing this, and I think the reason why the numbers get inflated, is because it's about money. These hospitals get money for each COVID case, so of course they want to inflate the numbers. I don't think that's a grand conspiracy, but obviously they want the money. And that's the reason why I think some of these numbers are getting inflated. And this,
but it's turning a tragedy into a capitalist venture, and we're seeing a lot of that.
Yes, we are. Yeah, a lot of hospitals are doing it. He's like the third person I've heard say it.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's fraud, and it's malpractice. That's very bad. Jeez.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Oh, we've actually heard some worse stories than that, but I don't know if Comics wants to get into it.
Oh, go for it, man.
Well, just the whole thing of, having a family member die, and they're like, "Yeah, do you want us to put it down as COVID so you get the check?" Because the hospital also gets an extra bonus check for that too. So it's like, yeah, to me, it's the opportunism there is just, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I do believe it's bad in certain areas. El Paso, I think it seems to be pretty bad. I haven't seen a whole lot, but I have seen some photos coming out of there. So I'm kind of curious to see what you have to say about what's going on in El Paso. But I know that they actually did mobilize the National Guard in El Paso. But it's I haven't looked too deeply into it. I heard that there's also a lot of people who are coming across the border over there, and that could also be related to the high number of deaths. I don't know. Like I said, it's not something I've looked into too deeply. So I think that's kind of interesting. Toxic Manflu has an interesting comment that I'm going to pop up here. Hospitals were shut down, losing billions. The only thing that was paying was COVID-related things. It was how some hospitals survived the lockdown. I would not be surprised at this point. And All Out of Bubblegum for $5 is saying, I had it back in December 2019. My friend mother got it after going to Vegas. And she survived 70 plus. We all came down with it. It sucked. Yeah. I would believe that. There's a lot of people that I know that believe they had it back in last December. So,
yep. Yeah, it was a nasty bug. It lasted like 3 weeks, and then just like mysteriously, because you'd think you're getting better, and then you would get smacked down with it again. Then one of the times that I ended up getting better, it just went away, and it was right around by Christmas, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that was like one of the big concerns, because normally we have like a New Year's party, and my friends were like, we're not sure if we're going to be able to make it this year, and because it was like they thought they had the flu and they couldn't kick it. They thought it was just going around because like one of them would get it, would give it to somebody else, and then it just kept cycling around. But no, it turned out well. I mean, they don't know. I guess they could test for antibodies. I don't know. It's over a year now, so maybe not. But this was before we knew about COVID. At least hitting the States. So yeah, it's kind of frightening.
Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, here's how I think I got it. I was in the office and somebody was coughing up a storm and were not covering their mouth, and I got sprayed on the back of my neck, and I just like got up and I gave him like the dirtiest look you could give somebody. I'm always very careful with that kind of stuff. I mean, I do all this opening of doors with elbows and feet, not touching things, and I do all that stuff anyway. And so I don't know. I don't think the whole world should be punished for the dumb people that don't do it.
Okay.
Well, not just that. If you're going to be somebody who's not going to wear a mask, don't be obnoxious about it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And the other way around too.
Don't be a jerk. Yeah. Okay. It's like, I don't know about COVID here. I'm driving through though. I'm a truck driver. Okay. Right on, man. Thanks for listening while you're driving.
I mean, there was a video the other day of some guy following some people around, and he was bitching at him, and he didn't even barely have his mask on. It's like, I just love seeing these people who think they're like automatically the parent of the world all of a sudden, and just loving it.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I was in the store the other day. I saw this one lady walking around without a mask. I just smiled. I was like, right on. No, I don't think. I think eventually she realized she didn't have a mask on. She ended up putting it on. Because I ended up seeing her. She's like, "Oh," I was like, "I'm not wearing a mask," and she's went to go look for it and whatnot. But nobody. It seemed like the entire time nobody said anything to her. So I don't know.
They need to have like complimentary seeing eye dogs for those of us that wear glasses when we wear our masks, because
right.
Yeah, my glasses fog up and I'm pretty much blind and useless as soon as I get in there.
Well, what I wear. Let me see if I can get out of my pocket. I just carry this thing everywhere where I go because it makes life easier. I have just like a neck gaiter, and this thing does a pretty decent job. And
I don't think any of this shit's gonna matter.
Yeah, no. I wear one of those to the gym, but I always forget it for some reason. I always forget it at home, and I have to wear those stupid masks.
I mean, if you're going to get it, you're going to get it. I don't think it's so much necessarily of breathing it in. It's because you got it on your fingers and you rub your eyes, or you pick your fucking nose, or you pick your teeth, or what have you. Like, that's how this shit happens. And that's where everybody, like in the beginning, is like, well, how does this live through this and that and the other? It's like, because we all have air conditioned housing and buildings. And when you touch everything and it takes 48 hours for something to die, that's how you pass it on so easily. It
was pretty funny. I ordered some food tonight, and I just so happened to be by the front door, and the guy pulled up and I walk out. And he's walking up. He's like, "Oh shit!" It's like, "I didn't bring a mask. Is it fine?" It's like, "We're outside, dude. It's not a big deal. I think we're all right." So,
I mean, I'm concerned, but at the same time, it's like I can't expect the world to childproof itself from me.
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, it's like. If I think if we treated this a little bit differently, we wouldn't be in these crazy conditions. Obviously, there are some people who are more susceptible than others in regards to it.
Then stay home, order out, don't go places like that.
Don't inconvenience the rest of the fucking world. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Secure the vulnerable populations. The rest of us need to make money and live. I mean, isn't that what they did during the smallpox epidemics and polio and I mean, we survived all of those, by the way, and they were much worse than this.
Yeah. Hang on. Let me get. There's a lot of great comments I want to get to. Oh, we'll go for another $5. I work in the transportation industry, and I'm afraid that my company will force me to take the vaccine, and I will not take it. Fire me, assholes. Dude, I don't blame you. I'm not gonna take it. My wife has a certain disease, and she was advised by her neurologist not to take it because of that. And yeah, I'm not gonna take it myself either. I heard some people with severe allergies shouldn't take it. I think they're mainly referring to like certain like drug allergies, but I'm using that as my excuse to not get it. Don't wipe with your hands. Very true. And Mr. Tickle Trunk says, wash your hands. That's always good, right? You should wash your hands.
Well, yeah, some of this stuff is just common sense that some nasty fuckers just don't do on a daily basis, period.
Yeah.
You know, like that's the thing. Otherwise, a lot of this just feels like a person who has OCD. It feels like their wet dream.
Yep.
It's like everybody in the world is making sure that they keep their germs away from me, and everything is shut down, and I can stay home and nobody will bother me. And, you know, it's like, if you're a shut-in, this is a dream come true.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. I pick my nose. You can pick your nose. You can pick your teeth, but don't pick your nose, then your teeth. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Wes.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, when it first happened and I thought it was only going to last for 2-3 weeks.
Like they said,
I was loving it. Yeah, I was loving it. They rounded up all the homeless people and put them in hotels, and the park was nice and clean. The gym was closed.
There was shit everywhere.
Yeah, the park was clean. I could do push-ups and I could, do pull-ups and go for a run, and it was peaceful and quiet. But yeah, I mean, 10 months later, yeah, this is overkill. Let's open up.
So I hear there's a recall for Gavin Newsom.
There is a recall for Gavin Newsom. In fact, I will go ahead and post in the chat the link to it. It's www.recallgavin2020.com. And for those of you in California, go print the petition, fill it out per the instructions, and mail it in. And if you're not from California, they do accept donations.
Good to know.
Yes.
Absolutely good to know. This is pretty funny. Another monster. Can I choose to get COVID instead of the vaccine? I would advise getting neither, quite frankly. I mean, being sick sucks, right? I mean, I just because I don't get a flu shot doesn't mean I want the flu either.
Well, where did they ever think any kind of shutdown was going to make any difference? Why? Because unless you have everybody follow exactly what protocols you set down, it's not going to make any difference. And we knew that was the case. So why even fucking try at this point? Like we should have, like you guys were saying, they should have just left it open. Those who were going to get it, we're going to get it. If you're not careful enough not to get it, that's your own fault, I guess. I mean, and I get it. Yeah, it is yes, you have to wear a mask. I saw somebody yell at me in the chat. I was being facetious, but my whole point is if you're going to get it, you're going to get it.
I agree.
I mean,
I don't think masks really help all that much. And here's the thing, folks. If the way, okay, it's like this thing here is not going to protect me. It's not going to protect anyone. Okay, I wear it because I'm required to wear it. The only thing that's really going to protect you from getting it is if you actually have an N95 mask or an actual respirator. That will stop it. Cloth masks aren't going to do shit. Okay, those little medical masks that people are wearing, it's not going to do shit. Yeah, a 95 mask or an actual respirator, that will stop it. And that's actually coming from studies.
I'd love to see what happens if somebody tries to get on an airplane with an actual respirator. I don't think that would let that happen.
Well, I mean, the respirator piece that covers that, like you wear for painting, or not painting, but anything like you're dealing with like hazardous chemicals around the house or dust. That kind of respirator. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I own 2 of those. So yeah, I'm good. But the N95 are kind of hard to come by these days, I think. At least the good ones. So
I think CC was able to get one.
N95 or?
Yeah, and then a 95 mask. He was talking about it when he was going to Florida on the plane. He was going to have one.
Yeah. So, but this is kind of comfortable. It
yeah,
I know it doesn't do shit.
It doesn't do shit, but it allows them to let you in. Like my gym, they require you to wear a mask, and I'm like, I'm not going to work out wearing a mask, so I use that sock thing, and I just, as soon as I walk past the front desk, I pull it down.
Yeah. And yes, the N95 or K95s are from China. So are the N95s, I believe. because everything's fucking manufactured in China these days, which is no bueno.
Yeah.
No, another monster is basically saying what I'm trying to say. If the lockdown was going to work, why would they need to do another lockdown?
Well, yeah, exactly. This is the trick, right? Is that well, the lockdowns worked as soon as people got out, they started getting sick again. It's like, well, no shit, that's going to happen. Oh,
yeah, you're just delaying the inevitable. Like that was the whole point. I get it. Okay, the first thing is to slow things down, give them time to come up with a vaccine, yada yada yada. But here we are, almost a year into this, or we pretty much are a year into this thing now.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's another thing too, and this is the reason why I'm cautious about the vaccine, is that this is the first RNA vaccine.
And I've heard the stories. I heard about the allergy bits like you guys were talking about, and at least one person has already had bleeding on the brain from this fucking thing. So like, yeah, I mean, like,
well, yeah, they're talking about only administering the vaccine at areas where they could do resuscitation. That
sounds promising.
That sounds promising, right? I mean, that makes me want to run out there and grab it.
I'm sure
Wes
they're
said, I think,
cautious.
Was that US or was it somebody in the chat who's like, I'd rather take a choice between? Yeah, it was somebody in the chat, I think, but we were.
Yeah. Well, I think I've already had it, so I'm not gonna take their stupid vaccine.
Well, right? Yeah.
Although they're talking about making it mandatory if you ever want to fly anywhere.
Oh, fucking! I'll drive. I will drive. I'm gonna.
Well,
Okay.
Another problem is how they're gonna fucking prove it, and that's where you get into the whole mess of the whole fucking chips and all that kind of shit. Because you know what, a paper or a card ain't gonna hack it, if you ask me.
Okay,
I
didn't realize that he pinged me. So, but I want to send you. I'm gonna play something for you guys, which I thought was really interesting. Let me get this going here. It is an interview with a doctor on some panel, and he has been talking about COVID-19. And it's really, oh fuck! I didn't share the goddamn audio. Like a moron. Wrong button. Here we go. Share audio first. There we go. This is interesting, folks. I think you will get a kick out of this. But he's talking about actual medicines that are pre-existing that could be used to help treat people.
Thank you, Dr. Ryder. Our next witness is here in person, Dr. Pierre Corey. Dr. Corey is the former associate professor and chief of the critical care service and medical director of the Trauma and Life Support Center at the University of Wisconsin, and recently joined the ICU service at Aurora St. Luke Medical Center in Milwaukee.
So this guy has a pretty legit credentials here, and if you go and Google him, he will come up. You will find out. You will also find his organization, which he mentions. And again, we have to stop occasionally because of commentary.
He is board certified in critical medicine, pulmonary diseases, and internal medicine. Dr. Corey has traveled across multiple states in the U.S. to care for COVID-19 patients throughout the pandemic. He is also the president of the Frontline COVID-19 Critical Care Alliance, a nonprofit organization.
That's the nonprofit you'll find if you Google this guy's name.
Of critical care specialists led by Professor Paul Merrick, whose mission over the last 9 months has focused on the research and development of effective treatment protocols for COVID-19 using repurposed drugs. He received his MD from St. George's University School of Medicine. And I'll only add that we added Dr. Corey very late to our hearing in May because I'd heard of his development.
As you've heard, like he's got a lot of credentials. He's been treating COVID for this past year. I think this guy knows what he's talking about. So it's kind of interesting to hear what drugs he mentions. I actually sent this to Raquel. Raquel was like, "Yeah, that makes sense." And it's like I think the reason why they're pushing the vaccine over pre-existing medications is because, well, obviously there's money in making a new vaccine. That's my conspiracy theory around this.
Oh
yeah.
Go ahead, Wes. Sorry.
I was gonna say, yeah, there was a documentary on that. I think it was called Plandemic, actually. They're talking about Fauci and that kind of stuff, how he can make money off of
yeah.
There was a rule change, yeah.
Anti-inflammatory steroids in critical care on COVID. And Dr. Corey, I have to tell you, I've had doctors come up to me and thank me for holding that hearing where they listened to you, change their thinking. They believe they've saved their patients' lives because of your testimony at that hearing. I hope your testimony will be as impactful today. Dr. Corey.
Senator, thank you, and thank you for holding this hearing. I just want to start out, I didn't think I'd have to say this, but I want to register my offense at the ranking member's opening statement. I was discredited as a politician. I am a physician and a man of science. I have done nothing but commit myself to scientific truth and the care of patients. And to hear that I'm here because of a political angle, I am not a politician, I'm a physician. I want to start out by saying,
Okay, so he's establishing the fact that he's not there because of political reasons. He's there because he actually gives a shit about patients and wants to treat them. You guys, anything to add?
No, I want to hear what he has to say.
I'm not quite sure why he said it, unless somebody said it that we just didn't hear it.
Yeah, it wasn't part of the initial clip.
that I'm not speaking as an individual. I'm speaking on behalf of the organization that I'm a part of. We are a group of some of the most highly published physicians in the world. We have near 2,000 peer-reviewed publications among us, led by Professor Paul Marik, who's our intellectual leader. We came together early on in the pandemic, and all we have sought is to review the world's literature on every facet of this disease, trying to develop effective protocols. You just mentioned that I was here in May, and I wouldn't say touted, I recommended that it was critical that we use corticosteroids in this disease when all of the national and international healthcare organizations said we cannot use those. That turned out to be a life-saving recommendation. I am here again today with a new recommendation. In the last 9 months, in our review of all of the literature as a group, again, we are some of the most highly published physicians in our specialty and the world. We have done nothing but try to figure out how to identify a repurposed and available drug to treat this illness. We have now come to the conclusion after 9 months, and I have to point out, I am severely troubled by the fact that the NIH, the FDA, and the CDC, I do not know of any task force that was assigned or compiled to review repurposed drugs in an attempt to treat this disease.
Okay, so I want to stop there. I think that from my understanding that whenever there's something like this going on, that they do usually do a task force like that. So
yeah, I would think it'd be one of the first things they would do.
Apparently they did not do this with COVID-19.
Wow.
Which is interesting.
Everything has been about novel and or expensive pharmaceutically engineered drugs, things like tocilizumab and remdesivir and monoclonal antibodies and vaccines. We have 100 years of medicine development. We know we are expert in all the medicines we use, and I do not know of a task force that has been focused on repurposed drugs. I will tell you that my group and our organization, I will say that we have filled that void. That is all we have done is focus on the things we know and things we do. And I'm here to tell you, Dr. Reiter, he just presented. He has one study of the many that I want to talk about. And I want to talk about that we have a solution to this crisis. There is a drug that is...
Okay, before we get into that, one thing I didn't get a chance to mention earlier is that he mentions that they've had a bunch of research that they've done that has gone through peer review as well. So this is something that people always want to bring up about, oh, was it peer reviewed? Well, yes, in this case, things have been peer reviewed.
Proving to be of miraculous impact. And when I say miracle, I do not use that term lightly. And I don't want to be sensationalized when I say that. That is a scientific recommendation based on mountains of data that has emerged in the last 3 months. When I am told, and I just had to hear this in the opening sentence, that we are touting things that are not FDA or NIH recommended, let me be clear. The NIH, their recommendation on ivermectin, which is to not use it outside of controlled trials, is from August 27th. We are now in December. This is 3 to 4 months later. Mountains of data have emerged from many centers and countries around the world showing the miraculous effectiveness of ivermectin. It basically obliterates transmission of this virus. If you take it, you will not get sick. I want to briefly summarize the data. My manuscript, again, published by some of the most, we have contributed more to the medical knowledge of our specialty in our careers than anyone else can claim as a group. And our manuscript, which was posted on Medicine Preprint Server, details all of this evidence. I want to briefly summarize it. Number one, we have evidence that ivermectin is effective not only in prophylaxis, in the prevention. If you take it, you will not get sick. We just came across a trial last night from
Okay, I want to show you guys something real quick. This is interesting because I Googled the drug that he was talking about, and this is the thing I think is pretty interesting about this. So he's talking about ivermectin. I went and Googled it. So the first thing that pops up is COVID-19 alert. Common questions. Is ivermectin recommended for the treatment of COVID-19? No. While there are approved uses of ivermectin in people and animals, it is not approved for the prevention or treatment of COVID-19. So why would you think that, guys? Why would you think that they're trying to debunk this doctor? And like I said, this guy has been dealing with this shit. And if you Google him, you'll find the organization which he belongs to. Why do you think they're pushing this?
I think they want to keep us shut down. I think they want to keep us shut down, and they want to.
I think it's less insidious. I think it's because of money. I think it's because there's money in the vaccine. That's my personal thoughts around it.
Well, I mean, there's that too. But even that now, they're saying that the vaccine isn't going to work, or that we can't lift the shutdowns because of the vaccine until there's a certain distribution.
Yeah. So yeah,
but yeah, sure. Definitely. I mean, you'll see that when a new drug comes out and the old drug works just fine.
Yeah.
That they'll try and steer people away from the old drug that the patent has expired on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there's not as much money to be made in it. Most likely would be my thoughts. I know that there's a few people throwing out bureaucracy, like Mr. Tickle Trunk is saying. That's also a good possibility as well. I think there's a lot of reasons behind why they would not use repurposed drugs, which I think it all goes back to money. So let me go and reshare the video here.
Whoa. Double vision.
What's what? Oh, what the fuck? Oh.
You can see my underwear.
I clicked on the wrong YouTube. There we go. Fuck. I didn't click audio. Boomer. There we go.
They prophylaxed 800 healthcare workers. Not one got sick. In the 400 that they didn't prophylax with ivermectin, 58% got sick. 237 of those 400 got sick. If you take it, you will not get sick. It has immense and potent antiviral activity. We know that from the first study in Monash, it has made the bench to the bedside. Prophylaxis, we now have 4 large randomized controlled trials totaling over 1,500 patients, each trial showing that as a prophylaxis agent, it is immensely effective. You will not get sick. You will be protected from getting ill if you take it. In early outpatient treatment, we have 3 randomized controlled trials and multiple observation as well as case series showing that if you take ivermectin, the need for hospitalization and death will decrease. The most profound evidence we have is in the hospitalized patients. We have 4 randomized controlled trials there, multiple observation trials, all showing the same thing. You will not die, or you will die at much, much, much lower rates. Statistically significant, large magnitude results if you take ivermectin. It is proving to be a wonder drug. It has already won the Nobel Prize in Medicine in 2015 for its impacts on global health in the eradication of parasitic diseases. It is proving to be an immensely powerful antiviral and anti-inflammatory agent. It is critical for its use in this disease. We, again, stand by our manuscript. It is a scientific manuscript. It's been submitted for peer review. But please recognize peer review takes time. It takes months. We do not have months. We have 100,000 patients in the hospital right now dying. I'm a lung specialist. I'm an ICU specialist. I've cared for more dying COVID patients than anyone can imagine. They're dying because they can't breathe. They can't breathe. They're on high flow oxygen delivery devices. They're on non-invasive ventilators, and or they're sedated and paralyzed and attached to mechanical ventilators that breathe for them. And I watch them every day. They die. By the time they get me in the ICU, they're already dying. They're almost impossible to recover. Early treatment is key. We need to offload the hospitals. We are tired. I can't keep doing this. If you look at my manuscript, and if I have to go back to work next week, any further deaths are going to be needless deaths. And I cannot be traumatized by that. I cannot keep caring for patients when I know.
Well, anyway, that's kind of the gist of the video. It's interesting. And I actually pulled up Dr. Pierre Corey. Let me share this real quick. So it's not like this is some made up individual. Pierre Corey, MD, graduation date. This is from St. George's University, 2002. Critical care, pulmonary medicine, UW Health. So, you know, Google the guy. He exists. So this isn't some fake doctor. I'm curious as to why he's not getting as much attention. Well, I can guess why, because I think a lot of this has to do with money.
Oh, yeah.
You can look up his organization. So this is interesting. So, this is great. So naturally, he's getting fact checked by AP. No evidence ivermectin is a miracle drug against COVID-19. So there's the claims. Yeah, of course, they mentioned Dr. Pierre Corey. So let's take a look at this. So the anti-parasitic drug ivermectin has a miraculous effects that obliterate the transmission of COVID-19 and will prevent people from getting sick. AP assessment false. There is no evidence ivermectin has been proven a safe or effective treatment against COVID-19. Okay, well, here's the other thing too. He has research that has been peer reviewed, but apparently it's not public. So I think it's kind of interesting that the AP has fact checked this, but obviously they're not doctors. They're not scientists. Just throwing that out there. The facts. During a Senate hearing Tuesday, a group of doctors touted alternative COVID-19 treatments, including ivermectin and anti-malaria medication, hydroxychloroquine. Medical experts have cautioned against using either of these drugs to treat COVID-19. Studies have shown that hydroxychloroquine has no benefit against the coronavirus and can have serious side effects. But that's funny because this is about ivermectin, not hydroxychloroquine. The evidence has been shown to prove that ivermectin works against COVID-19. Oh, no evidence has been shown. Okay. Oh no, what are you guys' thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to think that it's just all about money. But again, I mean, the widespread censorship that we're seeing, not just this, but on other stuff, it just all kind of did I disappear for a second?
No, what's that? You're here.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I saw the spinny thing. Yeah. So, I mean, with these fact checks, again, it's like, why, if I said, hey, I think the moon's made of cheese, they're not going to fact check something like that. It's, and the reason that they fact check these things the way they do, it's because there is evidence that they work. And that's what they don't want you to see. There is evidence that there were irregularities in the election. There's no evidence the moon's made of cheese. So that's true. Even though it's a ridiculous claim, that's why those things don't get fact checked. It's all part of their agenda. My opinion.
Tom?
Yeah, but if they have something like this and it works.
Sorry, Wes, go ahead.
My internet's hiccuping, I think.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I think you're on a
Sorry,
bit of a delay.
Yeah, I think there's a spinny thing that keeps happening. Yeah, I mean, if it works, I mean, why not do try? See, every time when we get my
Yeah,
internet's hiccuping again.
yeah,
So they should try this they should try this in nursing homes, you know, and if it works there to prevent it, then it should be widely distributed.
Yeah, and going back to what we're talking about with no evidence, it's like, well, why not do a trial to see if it does anything? You know, it's like, why not do something like that? I don't know. Let me grab the super chat. Like I said, I thought that was pretty interesting to see. Let me grab the super chat real quick. Imperial P for $5. Just saying, I was mandated anti-pulmonary pills by the Army while deployed. That was just recently in the last 2 years discovered to cause brain damage. Wow, dude. That's crazy. Well, sometimes that's kind of the issue with being government issue, right? Is that sometimes you're an experiment for the government, which is pretty unfortunate. Toxic Man Food for $10. One of the vaccines you have to take again 28 days later. Wasn't that a zombie film? 28 days later, yes, it was. Also, my generic Viagra causes me to go blind. At least I think it's the generic Viagra. Or it could be the fact that all the blood in your body is rushing to a certain appendage. So there's always that.
I thought something else caused you to go blind.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that this medication is not going to get the light of day, unfortunately. So anyway, let's move on to other topics.
Yeah.
Anything in particular you want to talk about, Tom? Anything entertainment related going on in the world?
Well, I mean, just things are heating up with streaming services and whatnot. You know, with HBO Max announcing their big thing and Disney acting like, you know, they're all that in a bag of chips. It's been quite an exciting week on the entertainment front as far as that stuff goes. Pretty much, other than that, nothing like exciting. There was the Tom Cruise business where he freaked out on everybody. That's kind of bouncing off what we're talking about.
Oh, what did Tom Cruise do?
Oh, you didn't hear about that?
I've been really busy this week. I've been really out of touch. I haven't looked at Twitter at all that much. That's about it.
Well, basically, on the set of Mission Impossible 7, there was a couple of crew members or whatever that weren't following protocol. And Tom chewed them the fuck out. Because and rightfully so. I mean, and I loved his rant, and I'm not even a Tom Cruise fan. I'm like I've never really liked him, but just listening to him for once, it's like, yeah, it's nice to hear one of these guys who gets it, who gets that they're doing something that everybody would love to do, and that not everybody's working right now, and that he's not just worried about himself, he's worried about, you know, all these other people that he has to, you know, that he's responsible for, you know, and it was just kind of refreshing to hear from one of these elitist Hollywood types that they actually give a shit beyond their own narcissistic bullshit.
Yeah. Real quick, I want to get this super chat from Mr. Tickle Trunk for Canadian $10. Does the AP have access to said research? If not, then that page won't change. Yeah, I don't think they do have access to the research. I don't know. This also is a prime example of why we need real investigative journalism and not activists. I completely agree with you. Absolutely. And also, I see Margie is in the chat. Hey, Margie, I got your donation on Subscribestar. Thank you very much. That was very generous. She donated $100 on Subscribestar the other day. I haven't had an opportunity to message you. I've just been super busy. But now that I see you, that you're in the chat, I just want to thank you. That was very generous of you, as always. But yeah, I think I vaguely remember seeing that in passing, that he basically snapped at some people that were working on set because they weren't following COVID protocols. But I didn't look too deeply into it. Like I said, I've had a very busy week, so that's kind of interesting. What else has been going on?
Yeah, how busy weeks go.
Yeah. Well, the thing that sucks is I was planning on recording a video on Tuesday, but I ended up blowing like 2 hours trying to debug the audio, which is funny because I kept testing with live streams, and there's like occasionally I'd forget to private it because before I'd go live, I'd set to private, go live. Like I had an article pulled up, I'd read a paragraph and then stop the stream, listen to see what the audio sounded like. And and one time I didn't make it private.
Yeah, I did that too once. Yeah, it was one of my most watched streams, oddly enough. People want to see stuff like that, I guess, for some reason. Test.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, Tom.
No, I was just laughing at Awesome when he says there's a Tom Cruise yells at Christian Bale video. Now I got to find this.
Yeah, it's like it had 5 likes. I was like, Jesus, people, it's just a test video. What's the like about it? Besides me just being an idiot, more so than normal.
I'm always worried about picking my nose on cam when I'm doing a test video.
Well, that's why you don't turn the camera on when you're testing audio.
Oh, yeah. Good idea.
Yeah. That way you can knuckle punch to your heart's content and nobody sees it.
Yep. Pick and flick adventure. So Star Trek Discovery, I thought it was over, but it's not. And have you seen any of the recent episodes, comics?
Quit swearing.
No, I haven't. I kind of want to just to see how bad they are. I mean, I know how bad they are, but I have them on my Plex server, and I just haven't. I wouldn't say I'm not going to make the time to do it. If I'm bored off my ass and I have nothing to do, I will. But
it's so, man. They brought in the Guardian of Forever on the last episode.
I knew they were going to do that. Robert Meyer Burnett said something about something from the original series.
Did you see what he did the night before or last night or whatever on Twitter? He said something about basically like not wanting to go on anymore after watching Star Trek Discovery, and they shut down his fucking Twitter.
I saw that.
What?
Yeah.
I don't think I can go on
now, but yeah, it was just like, seriously, Twitter's broke.
I don't think I can go on with the show. That's for sure. I mean, the show was already bad. Okay. In the first and second season. And the first episode of this season was like, oh, okay, well, that's okay. And they've finally found consistency. It's consistently horrible.
It has been always.
Well, not this bad. This is really bad.
Did you watch the first 2 seasons?
At least they had an interesting premise. Before Michael
severed baby heads at one point. I mean,
what?
Come on, and Klingon race.
Serious?
Yes. Like this whole plot with the Klingon lady and this one guy who's like grafted onto a Klingon, grafted onto a human, and they ended up having a baby. And so they create a cloned baby head to make it look like she killed the baby. It was this whole convoluted fucking thing. And I mean, she raped the guy to begin with. It was just a big old fucking, like, there was that. And then there was Lorca from the Mirror Universe, which they're trying to tie into again now. And this last episode was just literally 45 minutes of listening to how great Michael Burnham is.
Pretty much. Again, and with no evidence, and she's horrible. She's such a just contemptible character. I hate her character. There's nothing redeeming about her. And, at least in the season 1, that's something that I thought was interesting, was that she was a fuck up and that she was locked into the brig and that she had no rank and that Lorca was using her. Lorca was interesting. Well, at least until they got, his arc ended.
They had no idea what they were doing with him.
Clearly.
Well, the funny thing too, is I remember when they mentioned Discovery or they announced it and some things that were going on is that if the first season didn't play well, they were planning on turning it into like an anthology series.
Well, that was the original plan, actually.
Yeah.
The original plan was there was only going to be, and that's what we reported, and everybody called us liars, but we've got proof that initially Brian Fuller and gang, they had planned on it being an anthology series, kind of like...
There were fucking articles written about it.
Yeah, kind of like American Horror Story or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Where each season it would be a different, a different setting, different crew, different stories kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was initially the idea.
Yeah. Let me grab this chat real quick because it's kind of interesting. So, Commander Ed Stark of Shadow Comics Vision. I'm old enough to remember the swine flu vaccine, which was back in the 70s, which killed more people than the flu. Yeah, there's also that. Due to a rushed, poorly manufactured vaccine that gave people the flu or allergic reactions. Yeah, there was like something else that they got too. But yeah, it was it was bad. So I'm kind of curious to see if we're going to get a repeat of that here as well.
They already had the one group of testes give false positives for HIV. Did you hear that? Yeah,
I heard about that.
Yeah,
there's a lot of things. There was that they had to stop it. I think the trial twice. One because I guess people with certain neurological disorders had very bad reactions to it.
That's probably like that one person in that last test had bleeding on the brain from it, for fuck's sake.
So it's fortunately we're not on the list of people to get it anytime soon, I would believe.
Oh hell no.
So
we're
fine.
Well, that's funny about this whole thing, not to get back on the subject again, but it's like, obviously it's not like it is in the movies, folks. They can't come up with a vaccine in 2 hours.
No.
I get that. I think the real world gets that too. And I don't think anybody's going to be quick to jump on this and just, be like, yeah, shove this fucking chemical in my body and this, dead virus in my body. Let's see how it goes,
Hoi!
We have a very special guest, Nano Reaper.
Hey, Nano Reaper.
Hey, Tom. Hey, Wes. No, I don't think anybody's going to be very, very quick to jump on this. I mean, I'm not an anti-vaxxer by any points of the week. I mean, I have a scar.
Neither am I.
No, I have a smallpox scar on my body because, I was in the military for 15 years. And no, I don't trust vaccines being rushed into production in 18 months. I think that's a reasonable human being view.
18 months? I thought it was like 8 months.
Well, okay. 18
Sorry, I'm having a
months
master
by the time we have widespread distribution.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
TM Martin,
What, Utopia?
Yeah, you know what? Utopia was good because I'm a huge fan of Sydney Sweeney, and she has phenomenal boobs. Even my wife agrees. But it was a really shitty show. But I thought it had been renewed for a second season.
Wasn't this like the American remake of the British TV show?
Israeli TV show.
Oh, it's Israeli. Okay.
Yeah, but it's basically thought TV.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I love Sydney Sweeney. And honestly, it's the only reason I watch the show. And I liked her in Ants. But yeah, she's, no, but I'm very anti-Hollywood. And I really want it to burn to the ground.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way these days in regards to what's going on with Hollywood.
And I'm to the point of I kind of want them to burn to the ground because I kind of think we need it to burn to the ground and let it die. And in 10 years, let it rise back. Because I'm so sick of people like Tom Cruise lecturing working class people because like he's a god.
Mm-hmm.
He might be. It depends on how much money you spend at the church.
Honestly, I disagree with you on that. I think he was in the right on that whole fucking thing.
And I disagree because I disagree with Tom, to be very polite, I disagree with the alleged deadliness of COVID-19.
Look, it isn't even about that. It isn't even about that. He's talking about the fact they've been shut down like 3 times now. And
they've been shut down, but he was going off on people because they were within 6 feet of one another on an editing software while wearing a mask.
Do you have proof of this? Because as far as it sounds like it's on a set, and he said it's people that have been warned already for not going by the.
Oh no! First of all, he's an actor.
And here's the thing.
First of all, he's a fucking actor, Tom.
I get that, and I don't even like Tom Cruise. I'll tell you this right now: there's a lot of people who are out of work, and he is basically saying that I'm worried about thousands of people's jobs, and you guys are sitting here fucking around, and you're going to get the whole goddamn thing shut down.
He's a virtue signaling whore. He's just using that to yell off his fucking thing because 2 people happen to be closer than 6 feet to one another to edit a piece of film while wearing masks. He's a bitch-made motherfucker. And
I disagree. I disagree on this one because I'll tell you right now, as somebody who's actually produced and has to deal with a lot of people, if one fucking thing goes wrong and shuts everything down and it's fucking stupid, especially when millions upon billions of dollars are on the line, he's totally in the right here. There are rules and regulations set there, whether he agrees with them, don't agree with them, whether you agree with them, I don't agree with them. The only reason they're able to film right now is if they follow these regulations. And if somebody reports them, the whole fucking thing's getting shut down.
But he's the motherfucker that would report them. Why
would he, though? He's the producer. That's his whole point, is they've been shut down several times already, and that's what he's trying to avoid. He's one of the few features that are actually in production right now. And unlike, all these sports stars and other movie stars who are acting like, living in their billion-dollar mansions is a fucking prison, he's out there basically saying, look, we're lucky enough to be working, and you guys are about to fuck that up for everybody. For everybody. Thousands of people are going to be out of work.
I disagree because they were within 6 feet of one another. I'm sorry, but I disagree with the fucking restrictions. And you know what? I'm in the same goddamn tax bracket as fucking Tom Cruise. So you know what? He can go fuck off.
Yeah, but Tom Cruise, though, dude. Like, there's people in everyday jobs that are getting fired just because they're not following these regulations. So I understand where he's coming from. And he didn't fire them. They chose to leave.
But I don't think he's being genuine about it.
That's your opinion, and I can that can be debated. But he's not wrong. He is not wrong in the least. If people are lucky enough to be working, and if they have to follow these fucking rules, especially if you're making a movie and you're not building a building or a doctor, then yeah, you should really follow these fucking regulations into a T, or shit's going to get shut down and hundreds of thousands of people are not going to be out of work because you couldn't stay 6 feet away from each other. That's the way I see it. I see it from Tom Cruise's point of view.
But it's also, he's a fucking piece of shit. And I'm going to be honest.
He may be.
All actors are a piece of shit. They're all prima donnas. They're all fucking garbage. They're all fucking showing their fucking twats on Instagram, acting like goddamn whores, and then go, don't call us whores. I'm sorry. I'm going to be blunt. I'm going to be a fucking asshole because you know what? I came from being homeless to being a fucking asshole that pays 37% of their income to fucking taxes. And you know what? Yeah, I'm going to be an asshole because I do not hold these people up. I hold them up to fucking, please be a fucking human being and understand that fucking people work. Because I'm the working guy. I'm the guy that hires 100 people. I'm the guy that runs fucking 3 companies. And I'm sick of goddamn actors thinking they're better than everybody else. You know what? Fuck them. They're garbage. Let Hollywood die. And let the working fucking man come back. Because I hire plumbers. I hire electricians. I hire fucking contract workers. I hire construction workers.
So does Tom.
You know what? He's a fucking bitch. All he wants to do is... And you know what? I have the balls to stand up to Greg Abbott as a county commissioner and tell him to go fuck off. We're not shutting our bars down. All right? So, fuck. So, I've got balls. He doesn't. I stand up to my governor when he says, we're going to shut down all the bars in Zone A. And I'm like, Jax County is in Zone A. but we have 3 COVID cases. There's no reason for us to close our bars down.
Was that earlier in the year? Because I know that he's not doing any of the shutdowns.
No. We're talking about, this was in December. This was like in the last couple of weeks.
Oh, really? Okay.
Metroplex actually, which Jackson County's on the absolute edge of, which I did win my county election, by the way. I am now a county commissioner. And I stood up.
Congratulations.
I stood up to Greg Abbott. I said, we have 3 cases. We've had 3 COVID deaths in my county. So, you know, I'm an asshole. Yes. And you know what, Tom, I'm sick of actors. And you know what? Tom Cruise used to be a hero of mine. My God, I became a pilot because of him and Mel Gibson and Robert Downey Jr. But I will stand up for the working man because I came from being extremely poor, from being homeless to being wealthy because I worked my ass off. And it wasn't because of people helping me out. And I ran for county commission this time around. So he's wrong. People are, you know what? If you got 2 editors looking at a single monitor for 30, 40 seconds, even 2 or 3 minutes, you know what? Fuck it. Let them happen. It's not going to fucking
let it happen. But if they get reported, the whole fucking thing gets shut down, Nano Reaper. That's the thing. It's not like it's Tom Cruise's choice. It's not like he's making these rules. That's what you're not understanding. Like you're making
but he's the one
completely different
bringing
argument
it to people's attention. That's the thing.
Did he leak it? It doesn't sound like he recorded it. It sounds like somebody from another room recorded it.
So someone in the chat said that he leaked it, but I don't know if that's the case or not. Like I said, I know nothing about what happened.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine him wanting to leak it because that would jeopardize. I would think that would jeopardize the production. So it sounded to be. I mean,
well, that's kind of the whole point of the rant to begin with, is that these guys are jeopardizing the production over stupidity. Which, Nano, let's put it for the, like you just said it yourself. You hire all these people. You're responsible for all these people. Let's take the COVID aspect out of it. Let's say it's a regulation that they know they're supposed to follow and they're not following it, and they could jeopardize the whole operation. Wouldn't that piss you off?
It would piss me off, but I wouldn't be fucking threatening to fucking take their jobs. I would take them aside and deal with it in a reasonable manner.
Okay, well, from the sound of it sounds like he already did that.
No, he didn't.
Because he already said, I already told you fuckers once.
No, but here's the thing. He's an actor. They always are over the top. They're beta. He's a beta male.
That's beside the fucking point, though, Nano Reaper.
No, it is the point. It is the point, Tom. It is the point. Because Tom Cruise is a piece of shit like every other actor that doesn't actually do anything with their lives. And they pretend for a living. And, I bought a cruise ship for 500,000 pounds. What the? You know what? I have dealt with fucking yacht dealers. You can't buy shit for 500,000 pounds. Oh, by the way, to troll, fuck you. All right? I see your little thing. Mute me. You know what? Here's the thing. I actually know what fucking boats cost. And you're talking, I bought a boat for 500,000 pounds so fucking production can continue. You know what? Stand up to these governments. It's called mass civil disobedience.
Yeah, that was one thing I was talking about with the whole thing with the lockdowns is, protesting the lockdowns. That's if you don't like the lockdowns and you want your civil liberties, you need to protest.
And if you don't
fight again,
little shit,
I'm not sure what that has to do with Tom Cruise, but yeah.
Yeah. No, it has nothing to do with Tom Cruise,
but to troll, you wouldn't want to meet me in a dark alley, but you're a little bitch made male. So I see your comments, and you're a troll. You and your little buddy JJJJ667. I'll be happy to meet either one of you in an alley. It'll be the last fight we ever had.
let's not insult the chat here.
Yeah.
No, they're insulting me.
Yeah.
Now
they
you're being
are.
quite obnoxious too, just so you know.
Hey, you know what? I'm a former Green Beret. I deserve that right.
Just because you were a former Green Beret, that gives you the right to be a dickhole to everybody? No.
No, it doesn't. But you know what? I'm the kind of person that will stand up to people. And I'm so sick and tired of these little shit trolls out there trying to fucking piss people off. Because I'll meet you in an alley.
Well, I think one of the big things is don't feed the trolls because that's what they thrive on is attention.
Yeah. But you know what? I also believe that if you're going to deal with bullies, beat their head into a wall, give them a concussion, and they leave you the f alone. I believe physical violence solves a lot of problems. And you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. But I believe too many people hide behind their keyboards. So
that I agree with. That a lot of people do hide behind their keyboards.
Yeah, I mean, the chat sometimes will comment and they'll say things I don't agree with. Sometimes I'll personally attack, but I didn't see anything that really egregious there that kind of merited that.
Yeah, because that's one thing. Having worked in support, sometimes you get some people that are very not polite initially, or they don't realize that people will respond, and they tend to, oh, you're actually a person. So yeah.
Well, I mean, I think everybody. I mean, Tom, I'm sorry I'm being an ass to you, but I'm really sick of actors.
I get your frustration because we saw all the stuff that happened, throughout this year between, I take responsibility in the other video. Was it which song they were doing with Gal Gadot? Imagine. Thank you. I'm in the same position you are when it comes to Hollywood. I don't want them to get bailed out. I want them to fail because of the crappy entertainment that there is coming out of Hollywood these days. And I mean, why should we bail out their industry when it's basically a fucking dumpster fire?
No, and I agree. And I said that on Cards and Casinos videos. I've said that on your videos. I want them to die. Because if they don't die, they won't be reborn stronger. Yeah.
I think that's kind of what the main issue is with Hollywood is that, quite frankly, any industry, this is the problem with things getting bailed out. We saw the exact same thing happen with the airline industry. We saw the same thing happen recently with the automotive industry. Banks back in 2008.
And that's why I only buy Fords is because they were the only company domestically that didn't take a bailout.
Yeah.
Here's the thing with Hollywood. Hollywood started out initially. They fled from the East. They were kind of your artists that wanted to create what they wanted to create. And back East in like New York, there's very much this corporate talk, corporate structure that kind of hindered them in their artistic visions. I mean, in addition to the climate, and they moved here to Hollywood, and they were kind of the outcasts, and they were the artists, and.
Well, originally, Hollywood was going to be founded in South Carolina, in North Augusta, and that didn't happen. It ended up they moved, and now they're opening studios in Georgia, which I find funny. And then they ended up moving to California for tax reasons.
Well, the funny thing is they ended up opening up studios in Georgia. But didn't they decide to start closing them down or stop filming in Georgia because of the whole thing with the abortion laws?
Yeah, and then they reopened because the tax deals were too good.
That's funny. Go ahead.
No, because Alyssa Milano doesn't matter because she hasn't been relevant since Embrace of the Vampire. And Poison Ivy too.
Yeah, she's not really relevant these days. Besides her fun Twitter posts.
Oh no, I laugh. She actually blocked me.
Oh yeah, what did you say to her?
I called her a cunt.
Oh, okay.
And
What? You didn't get banned for that? I got
Yeah.
banned for calling her a cunt.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
That's funny.
that's why I'm West Moody 10.
well, no,
Oh.
I got on her face. I called her a useless, effectless cunt. And I said that she was the last thing she made that was decent was when she was taking her top off.
I just called her a dumb cunt. That's all I said.
She's pretty dumb.
What was that incident with the squirrel? She called it. Kids
Yeah,
were,
she called in the county sheriff for a BB gun.
Yep. There was a kid in the neighborhood hunting squirrels. That was
By the way,
I find that really funny because of the levels of hypocrisy, because the fact that, you know, she wants to defund the police, but who does she run to when she thinks that there's somebody running around her neighborhood with a gun?
she tied up the entire SWAT resources for 2 counties for 3 hours for a guy with a BB gun.
you know, those squirrels can be nasty little fuckers. They will tear up your patio furniture if you're not careful.
Yes.
Well, and not to try and get political, because I'd rather stay in the entertainment industry. I talked to my friend tonight that lives by Wes. He's in NorCal, and he's just outside of San Francisco. He lives in Century City, and he was reporting that the Recall Newsom petition has hit 78% of in-state requirement for recall.
So what is the actual requirement? Is it getting 100, or is there a certain percentage they need to hit?
No,
They need to have about 1.5 million signatures.
Yeah, and they're at 78%
Okay.
of verified signatures.
Ah, I gotcha.
And not being a Californian, I have contributed the max amount financially to the Recall Newsom effort, because Newsom is garbage, and Newsom is going to destroy everything good that is left in California. He's going to destroy the wineries. He's going to destroy the agricultural things. And as a farmer, I hate California, but I understand that there's a lot of strawberries and stuff that come out of California.
Yeah, did you see that video where there's that lady who owned a restaurant who was closed down?
And then there was the tents next to it. Yeah. I feel for her. It's bullshit.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts, man. Yeah. Anyway, any other Hollywood news? Any other stuff around entertainment that's come out this week? Like I said, I haven't really been paying attention.
The original actor for Boba Fett passed away.
Yeah, I saw that. Jeremy Bullock passed away today.
He was 75. I'm not going to blame it on COVID, because he was an avid smoker, and he's an old guy. He lived past the medium.
Did they diagnose him with COVID, or?
No, I haven't seen that. I just knew he died, you know.
Yeah, my wife told me before we went live today. I was like, that sucks. I'm glad I got his autograph when I did. He was a really nice when I met him. He was a really nice dude.
Honestly, I'm going to be blunt here. The guy they have playing Boba Fett now has said more in 2 episodes than Boba Fett
has it in any of the movies?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, Tom, any new news? Anything else you want to share?
Nah, not really.
Tom, why aren't you dressed as Zordos?
Because I don't want to scare the children.
I made that avatar of you with Zordos. I mean, I understand where you're coming from. but I'm so sick of the COVID.
It wasn't look, it was more so the way you're coming off, dude. And then you're like, first of all, you're trying to say it's not okay for Tom to yell at people, and then you're physically threatening other people. Like, that does not quite come off real well, dude. And it's just the way you were doing it. You can have discourse and a disagreement with somebody, but like, you're coming in here like fucking you're on steroids and some shit, and it just comes off the wrong way.
My own winery, I'm not on steroids. But I'm so sick of actors, to be honest, acting like prima donnas. Because I employ a lot of people, and I get really sick and tired of actors trying to act like they are better than everybody else.
Well, I don't see Tom acting like he's being better than anybody else. And here's the difference is he's not just being an actor here. He's a producer. His money's on the line too. He's one, like I said, like you, hiring hundreds of thousands of people, giving them jobs. And if two people just can't follow simple rules to keep them running, I can see where he's upset. And I agree with him.
The difference is I'm willing to stand up to the local governments if two people are closer than 6 feet. I'm willing to hire a lawyer and take them to court and say it's unconstitutional.
Well, okay. I'm sure he doesn't like that either.
I remember this is...
he can only do so much, you know.
They're also in England, different rules and different laws.
Yeah, but I mean, throughout this pandemic, I've worked all over the world as a petroleum geologist. We've worked in Kazakhstan. We've worked everywhere else. So, to me, you have to stand up to oppression everywhere. But
that is true. But I mean, the argument you stated of it's unconstitutional doesn't apply there. It would just be in violation of Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
Right. And that was
real quick. Welcome, Script Doctor. You have a beard now.
Yeah, he's got a COVID beard.
He does have a COVID beard. He's still not as white as I am in real life.
Oh wow! So what? You're like now like clear and translucent?
No. But I have spent quite a few months north of the Arctic Circle before all of this shit. So yes, I take my shirt off. I have to inform the FAA because my crash. My Mexican wife refers to me as El Whiteo.
The whitening.
And no, I'm a white boy. I'm not afraid to announce it.
Yeah, I'm pretty pale too.
Where Tom's coming from, but I'm just to the point. I think business owners need to stand up and tell local governments to fuck off, because there is a 99.6% survival rate. And I think as a business owner, I think we need to band together and actually stand up to this form of tyranny.
I would agree. I would say that it's the responsibility of the business owners to face the consequences if they don't take care of their people.
Is coming from, but I also think that people need to stand up to unreasonable restrictions. I mean, the guy has gone well out of his way to try and make things happen for Mission Impossible 7. But at the same time, when that audio file was leaked, he behaved like an asshole. And I'm a professional asshole, but I don't usually direct my assholeness towards my employees. I direct it towards local governments that are giving me unrealistic restrictions.
I think probably his attitude is pretty common for the set, though. I mean, it's
like I would say that's reserved for a set.
I was gonna say, you got people like Ray Fisher acting like he was treated like a fucking slave on set just because he was yelled at a little bit. Like, none of these guys could deal with any real directors like Hitchcock or fucking Friedkin or anything like that. Make a grown man fucking
I've heard arguments like this during like fire safety, where one guy who he was supposed to be the monitor for fire safety on the set, because we were dealing with a little bit of like mild explosives, what we call squibs, which are blood explosives, and the guy did not meet all the protocols. No one was injured, but someone else caught it. and the producer flipped the F out. Like, he just lost his shit and just screamed at this guy and made him an example, because if any type of error or things like that can compromise the production, shuts everybody down.
Well, my question is, why did the producer flip the fuck out and not the prop master? That's ultimately
the prop master is not responsible for those parts of things. That he did all of his jobs correctly. It was the supervisor that was not doing his due diligence.
All right, because like I work in a field where there is explosives. We do what's called experimental blasting for oil fields, like seismic testing, and
that's far more dangerous than what we do.
Yeah, and I've got a lot of rules to follow. But when I get somebody like Tom Cruise, who's a professional pretender, yelling at people that are just trying to here's my thinking. Okay, they were going to get yelled at either way. They were either not going to produce the product on time, or they were going to have to get too close together.
Oh, see, now you're conflating two different things here.
Yeah. Like, on top of that, too, you're also like reducing what Tom Cruise is. He's not just a guy who pretends. He's a producer who's got 40 years experience in the industry. That means something. Nobody lasts that long, especially as a leading man.
And that's what he's saying, is whether they were, I don't know who he was yelling at, because you said it was editors. I don't know if that's the case. Regardless of who he's yelling at, they were not following the protocols. And that's just the point, is they are lucky to be fucking working right now. And that's what he's getting at, is like, and he's on the phone constantly with everybody, making sure they're dealing with every single protocol. I'm sure he's got a million fucking things on a checklist he's got to deal with in a day. And if 2 motherfuckers or 3 motherfuckers or whoever it is, and I'm getting worked up just thinking about it, can't just fucking do what they're asked to do and follow stupid protocols, whether you like it or not. Who cares if you're in proximity? If you're supposed to be wearing a mask, wear the fucking mask. You're lucky enough
to be
working.
They weren't wearing a mask, from what I understand. They were just closer than 2 meters.
That's, I don't know
but
about
if that's still a stipulation, that's the
about
case. And don't think for a second that Tom Cruise isn't on the phone every day with local representatives saying, is there any way we could circumvent that, given the certain proximities of certain scenes, certain things that people who have to work
and
in
I'm sure that's what he means,
together.
Yeah. When he's like, I'm on the phone day and night. Yeah.
There are multiple spectrums of producer. There's one that actually does work, and that's usually Tom Cruise on his Mission Impossible films, because he treats those like his children. And that means he's doing everything. He's going so far as to like make sure that everybody gets their dietary needs correct with craft services. Like, that's how diligent he is and obsessive he is about his work. He's not like, an Alex Kurtzman or Akiva Goldsman who gets the credit and then fucks off for the rest of the day. Like, this is a guy who actually works in his job, and regardless of what you think about him on a public side of things, because he is very eccentric and peculiar for an average human being, he does do his work, and he does stick up for the people that he works for. So if you violate the trust that he has like offered towards you, he has every right to be upset, especially when it compromises the integrity of his entire production.
Right. I mean, this is the thing, is, okay, let me compare this to like the Christian Bale rant, right? Christian Bale is not nearly in the position where Tom Cruise is in any shape or form. Now, that was one of those things where after about 2.5 minutes, it's like, come on, dude, give it a break. Like, in this instance, I understand where Tom's coming from. Like, because and going off your point, Nano Reaper, we have heard so many fucking celebrities put their 2 cents out there, and all they seem to give a shit about is themselves. We actually have a celebrity here who's not actually worried about, being the big movie star or whatever. It's about keeping all these people in work and stopping this from being shut down. Now, if you don't think of it as a movie, and like I said, think about it as one of your things where you're setting up all these people and you've got 2 or 3 idiots who just cannot follow protocol. And I can understand where he's getting upset. Now, again, we could debate all day long whether he handled it correctly or not, but I also get where Script's coming from. When you're on a set or you're in a setting like this and you have to make an example out of somebody to make sure everybody else falls in line because you've got hundreds of millions of dollars on the line, it makes sense. I mean, there's sometimes you have to be a dick.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll agree to that, but I guess I just don't see COVID-19, and I've worked for BP, as a reason to act the way they act, because that's buying into the propaganda. And I'm the one, I will call up Boris and go, look, dude, I'm the best at what I do in the world. You know what? You want the North Sea surveyed? Fine, go hire somebody else.
Well, it was all due respect. You got to believe Tom Cruise is somebody who's powerful enough. that he has tried or is trying to circumvent and influence and do everything he can to get through this, dude. Like, it doesn't matter whether or not it's real or not, or whether you feel like it's as bad or it is or not. He's just going through what he has to go through, what hoops he has to jump through to keep this going.
Yeah,
you know, that's the point. Yeah.
Regardless of the reason, whether it's COVID or not, if there's some sort of stipulation in place that makes that production still a go, it has to be followed. And like, to your point, COVID is, like, I would say COVID is a controversial reason because, yeah, the evidence we've seen so far is that really only harms like the elderly and the ones with serious prior health conditions that we know of for sure.
Yeah.
So, like, yes, we could argue absolutely there's probably no real risk with regards to the people on this crew. But unfortunately, it doesn't even matter at this point because the powers that be are saying we're not even going to take any risk because we're all snowflakes or what have you. So these are the laws at the time if you want to operate, and you have to follow them. And as a responsible business owner, I mean, you can refollow those laws. I mean, but yes, I understand the oddity of it being like it's this particular thing, this thing that feels so harmless and weird. But it doesn't matter whether it's COVID, whether it's fire safety, whether it's like with regards to electrical or anything like that. If someone is not following the rules that ensure the safety of the production, they deserve whatever comes at them in regards to a verbal talking to.
Guys, we've gone this for quite a long time. I'd like to get some rest of the super chats, and then we're gonna call it. So let me start with Toxic Man Flu for $2. I actually had to work wrench this time. That's true, you did. And
good job.
Yeah, good job. And let me scroll down to the bottom. Oh, good Lord. There we go. Imperial Lupia for $10. All due respect, I think Cruz didn't need to blow up. Being mad, sure, but 6 feet apart is not something to lose his cool over. Being leadership has higher standards of when it's okay to blow up. I know that some of the other guys that covered this. I know I've always heard stories about how Hollywood, at least on set, is pretty brutal, and things like this are common, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Well, not with crew, but mostly with talent.
Yeah,
like you go to a crew, they all know their job. One of the reasons why I kind of get on the side of Tom Cruise is that these are crew people, and crew people don't screw up like this. Like, it's rare, like really rare. Like, the only ones you really have to yell at are talent, and he's not yelling at talent. He's yelling at crew who are supposed to be the best in the business, who are supposed to be able to adapt to any protocol that's put in place, regardless of the country that they're in, and are able to do their job proficiently and effectively and to the standards that they have set for themselves. And here we have an instance where a couple or a few aren't doing that. And it's so strange out of the behavior of how crews operate that, how else can you react other than going, really, you're supposed to be the best of the best and you're doing this? That in an instant, if the wrong person walks through that front door and sees that, we're done.
Yeah.
It's not like, you'll get a slap on the wrist or you'll be told to step away. It's you are done. And then you have to go through the entire process again. Like, the consequences are far greater than anything else. And it kind of does justify a little bit of an explosion.
Yeah. And that's what I was getting at. He's already been shut down a couple times. In the yelling, he says, I've already told you guys once. So this is not the first time they've been told. So I would imagine the first time he took him aside nicely and said, hey, look, I get it. This sucks. And again, I don't even know the what happened exactly, whether it was somebody not wearing a mask or they were too close together, what have you. Like we've said, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter because in the end, it's like Script said, if the wrong person walks in the door or if they're on an open set somewhere or doing whatever and they're not following whatever protocol and someone reports them, they're done.
Yeah.
That's hundreds of millions of dollars that everything gets shut down. Right now, no ifs and buts, and again, you look at it even without it being a movie. Like I said, just think about it as, any job that would be devastating.
Okay, Corey B for $4.99. Merry fucking Christmas and happy unwoke New Year. Well, Merry fucking Christmas to you.
Merry fucking
just remember,
Christmas.
In the year 2021, it's old enough to drink. So let's see what happens.
Sister Harrow for $5 Australian.
That's
Sorry,
10.
5. No, don't mind me. For 10 Australian dollars, I got my temperature checked every day to go to my office. We have cleaners wiping everything. If we break rules, we get stood down. Imagine if someone died on the job. And I'm not going to read the rest of that.
I mean, I'll respond to that. I have lawyers, and if anybody tried to shut me down because somebody had COVID on one of my job sites, I'd sue them to fucking oblivion and back. And Greg Abbott calls me personally. So, yeah, there's that. I'm not a fucking asshole poor that just yells at people. I pick up the phone and tell the governor, fuck you, to his face. And I happen to be a county commissioner. So, you know what?
All right.
Yeah, I'm an asshole. And yeah, I'm a dickhead. But the thing is, I have spent the last 10 years building my business, and I'm not going to sit here and be told by some elected shitbag who doesn't even follow his own party planks that he's going to try and do something when I'm one of the fucking people that fucking fills his re-election war chest.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and call it. So let's go around the horn here and start with Wes Moody.
Hey, everybody. I am Wes Moody of the Wes Moody Webcast. You can find me at youtube.com/Wes Moody Webcast. I talk about current events, pop culture, occasional conspiracy theories, occasional car talk, gaming streams, and I will vlog about whatever the heck I want to because it is my webcast. Hope to see you there, my friends. Thank you.
All righty. Next up, we have Tom.
I like pizza.
I know you like pizza.
And
I like pizza too.
chicken
I had
nuggets.
pizza for dinner.
I don't like them being called chicken nuggies, though. It sounds weird.
Script Doctor, thank you for showing up late, man. It's good to see
Sorry,
you
I was
as
just
well.
I'm working on my Mandalorian video. It's probably going to drop in the next few hours. So thanks for having me on. Great discussion. Good talking with you, Nana Reaper. I like your points. I appreciate your conviction for your employees as well. That's also awesome. It's nice to have a boss that's willing to defend the people that work under them. You can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/scriptdoctor and Twitter at scriptdoctorphd.
And how about you, Nana Reaper? Where can people find you?
Hey, I'm the North Texas asshole that everybody hates, and people seem to think they want to fucking meet in the dark alley, which you don't, but that's okay. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Parler. I'm an oil executive. I own my own ranch. I raise my own fish and cattle, and my own chickens and eggs, and I'm a big self-preacher about self-reliance. I also make my own mead and firearms. And you know what? One day I'll get my self-reliance YouTube channel off the ground, and you know what? Jay, you want to fight me? Or you want to be a little troll? Let's go. All right?
Hey, by the way, if you get that Self-Reliance YouTube channel going, I'm interested in checking out. I also make my own mead, but not my own firearms. And Margie.
Oh,
seriously.
wow.
Hey.
MarjieSmiles for $9.99. Have a good night. Have a great day tomorrow. Know that you are all loved and cannot wait to see what we talk about next time. Take care, Margie. Thank you so much. That, again, is very generous of you.
Amazingly generous.
And let's see. Koalas in the rain, folks.
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given.